has a talent for talking, and his loud voice is perfect for public speaking. He's always been able to explain his autism and alternative behaviour with a great sense of humour. He ad-libs and prepares very little, but can happily address 2,000 people. He's a great mimic who can talk in any accent, and often does, all day. Luke has been invited to Buckingham Palace and has spoken at the House of Lords, House of Commons and at Number 10. In a recent charity auction, he helped raise £209,000 for autism. Luke has been to the Arctic, and this year he's going to the Sahara.
Well, I used to think I could sing, and after Emma, I think I've answered that question. No, you can't, Austin. Ladies and gentlemen, in the wings, we've got a lovely gentleman who's going to come on and present our next performer for us. I would just like to introduce onto the stage John Bercow, the Speaker of the House of Commons. Ooh.
Austin, thank you very much for that generous introduction. Emma was magnificent, was she not? It's my privilege to be invited to share in this inspirational evening, and I confidently predict that you will find our next performer, Luke Dicker, inspirational. You've heard a bit about him. I'm proud to call him a friend. He had amongst the most difficult and traumatic starts to life with viral meningitis at 7 weeks. His mother, Jan, who is an absolutely amazing, indefatigable woman, has written a book entitled Life at the Edge and Beyond, charting the roller coaster ride that she and Luke have enjoyed and experienced in the first 18 years of his life. You've heard about him. He's come to terms, ladies and gentlemen, young people, with his Asperger's, and he's become a role model and ambassador for others. He's gone to Lloyd's TSB and spoken about autism and encouraged, exhorted, cajoled them to be a more autism-friendly bank. He's a youth patron of 2 national charities, including Ambitious About Autism, with which it's my privilege and my wife's privilege also to be involved. He has indeed spoken in the Commons and the Lords with great skill, humour and panache. He is going training with the Maasai warriors very soon, and he's going on a 9-day trek of the Sahara with pupils of the school that he attended, and 8 of whom he now mentors. He is truly a remarkable, fantastic, inspirational guy. Please welcome, with all the warmth at your command, my friend, your performer, Luke Dicker.
Thank you. Cheers. Hello. First of all, I'd like to say, obviously a letdown from the great introduction. Secondly, act to follow. I said in rehearsal, there's one person I don't want to follow. You can't beat the cute kid. How can anyone do that? Oh. And then you're lumbered with me. Brilliant. Anyway, let's crack on. I've got my notes, so hopefully I won't need them. This is a stand-up act, by the way. So please try and laugh, even if it's not funny. Why don't blind people like skydiving? Because it scares the dog. If that joke offends blind people, for the record, I'm 6'7" and built like a brick house. Where'd you find a dog with no legs? Where you left him, obvious. What happened to the girl with no arms who went on the swing? She fell off. If anyone who doesn't have arms is offended by that, take a swing. Oh. I'm sorry for the terrible jokes, but seriously, you do get what you pay for. Just putting that out there. Anyway, I'm Luke, and I am autistic. I have Asperger's. And I mean, autism's different with everyone. I mean, has anyone here watched the program Face Jacker? Big up yourselves, lad. Like, seriously, that is just a compilation of the best autistic people in the world. You have, like, the phrase, like, no, excuse me, please, coming through, thank you. I'd like to make a complaint, please. Then you've got two tips in the house. You're fed up with ketchup on your hot dogs. You want to try with special sauce, make it nice. And my autism with me, it kind of like, because I wasn't born with social skills and I had to grow up and learn them, so I seem really confident and beautiful, obviously. But in the back of my mind, I'm secretly going, oh no, I'm a little bit special. But then I walk past the mirror and I go, hang on, what's happening there? Swings and roundabouts, swings and roundabouts. I mean, you know. Seriously, I get lost in my own eyes. Daniel Craig is jealous of my eyes, in my mind. Yeah, as John said, my mum's written a book, $3.99 on Amazon. And on the back of that, I've been able to have some great experiences. As he said, been to the Arctic, been to Buckingham Palace, where one of the most peculiar things in my life happened. Prince Philip legitimately tried to chat up my mum. This is not a joke. Straight up, I mean, she's 54, but she's doing all right, you know. So we're stood there, and you know, you all stand there, and you're like, Queen walks past, oh, Majesty. Charles was there, meat face, he was there too. Prince Philip walking down, and Jan, she's wearing a summer dress, she's got her tatty bojangles out. Or chesticles, as I like to call them. So he's walking on. I see him do it, I saw him do it, and he saw me catch him. So he looks, and he looks down, and he goes, see, she's wearing wedges, and he goes, you'll catch a rising damp in them. I was like, thank God you're running our country, seriously, mate. And another great thing I got to do was to go to the Arctic, which was brilliant, cold, which is not my favourite thing, but brilliant. But one thing happened that still burns me to this day. I mean, because we took some autistic kids, which is brilliant. Some of them got a cold. We also took sports mentors, and two of the guys that came with us, one of them is called Dermot, and he's a former British heavyweight boxing champion. He's huge. He's the guy I described myself to be at the beginning. 6'7", built like a brick house. The other guy that was one of the sports mentors came with us, Chris Horseman. Now this guy is one of the hardest rugby players ever to have lived. So he could almost have me. And so these two burly men, and the whole time we're there, I'm like going, oh, soda, women, V8s. All right, kid. Do you know what you have for breakfast? Steak and eggs, son. Like proper man's own stuff. And we had I say privilege, it was cold, I didn't enjoy it, of going down this ice cave, which is literally a tunnel of ice everywhere. So I'm walking down there chatting to these two huge, burly, manly men. I'm walking down going, oh, yeah. Ah! I literally screamed like that and fell over. And I look up, and there's these two huge gorillas looking at me like, and I just went, I mean, they didn't see the funny side. And as I said, I'm a bit weird and a bit quirky, but I'd love to tell you about one of my best mates. I mean, I hang out with my friends because they make me look better by comparison. Never is this truer than with my friend Joe Bolton. He's a little bit short, a little bit fat, wears glasses. Doesn't look like he's English, but he is. And he genuinely thinks he talks like something like, yeah, man, sup, dude? And he's really clever, but stupid. Now, I'll tell you a bit about him. Joe's parents are pretty well off. They've got this big old converted barn, and on the back door is like a 20-foot wooden door. It's amazing. And one night he says to me, oh, Dicker, come round my house, get all the lads round. We'll have a few drinks, we'll get the fire pit out. My mum's out, let's go wild. So I go, oh, yeah, we'll come round for a drink. We go round, and Joe decides to light the fire pit. Now, Joseph Bolton is one of these men who doesn't do things practically like kindle, wood, matches like a man. His idea to starting a fire uses petrol. And I'd like to point out that the time before this, me and him tried to light a fire with petrol, we accidentally set a field on fire. And his reaction to this was, mate, bushfire! So he poured petrol into this fire pit, lights it up, logs are going. He decided it wasn't manly enough. So he started dousing logs in petrol and throwing them on the fire. Now, can you guess what happened? The trail from the log to the petrol can ignited. The petrol can goes... I'm stood there not really sure what to do at this point. Joe, being a genius, reacts. He picks up the petrol can and throws it. he didn't think where he was throwing it. He threw it into his house. I kid you not, this is a true story. This wooden door, 20 foot, is up in flames, petrol's everywhere, it is burning and burning. And I'm kind of sat there thinking, and the first thing I think is, where's Andy gone? I should point out, Andy is a friend of ours who, when he's had a drink, tends to do really, really stupid things. And when you don't know where he is, that's a cause for concern. But the fire seems to take precedence. So, Joe is running around like a madman. Get the hose! He's getting wet towels, he's ordering some out. I'm just stood there thinking, why did he throw it in the house? So, put the fire out, put the fire out! Joe, what? Why did you throw it in the house? I thought it was going to explode! So why'd you throw it in the house? I didn't want anyone to get hurt! Should we take the flaming can out of the house now? Yes! So he grabs this flaming can, lobs it, half his lawn goes up in fire. And then we all pitched in and eventually we got the fire out. Not 2 minutes after the fire was out, his parents came home. And they walk in, and we're like, oh, hey, Mama Bolton. Why does my house smell of petrol? And why is there burnt stuff? And as Joe is about to concoct what I can only assume would have been the worst lie in the world, the most convenient thing happens. Andy Maggs, my friend who disappeared, reappeared, butt naked. And that is a 100% true story. And the best moment of my life. And as you might have noticed, I'm a bit inappropriate. Now, I don't put this down to autism. I put this down to my father, who's seated in the audience. 6 rows back, bold, you can't miss him, reflection. Would everyone like to give him a little wave? Hello, Daddy. Now, this is my favourite thing ever to have happened to anyone. Now, my mum, who sat there as well, used to be a banker before I was born. She was a treasurer for Tyndall's, a private bank in London, you know, very high-end, all the yuppies. She one day, you know, just after her and my dad were married, took him to the Christmas dinner. So there's all the yuppies there, Gordon Gecko braces there, cellular telephones, going around going, oh, yeah, no, the Berlin was absolutely awful, no, Pandora, yeah. Then I just chundered everywhere. So they're going around like, you know, all yuppie talk, and my dad's quite working class, so he doesn't really have any common ground to talk to them about. So, starts on the wine. He got a little bit more than merry, it is fair to say, and during this talk, they're all sort of chatting conversation, you know, intelligent middle-class, upper middle-class conversation. Dad pops out with, I got a joke! They'll go, oh, we like jokes. I do like a joke. Yeah, go on, tell us a joke. Please remember this for the rest of your lives. He genuinely said at this posh do, what goes in, out, and smells of wee? A load of old people doing yoki-koki. I'll wrap things up now. I've told you a few of other people's favourite jokes. I'd like to tell you my favourite joke, if you don't mind. There's a new rule in heaven, that to get into heaven, you have to have had a really rubbish day other than dying. So St. Peter's at the gates of heaven, bloke comes up, sorry mate, can only let you in if you've had a proper rubbish day other than dying, you little scamp. So the bloke goes, well, I came home to my apartment, and I knew my wife was cheating on me. So I ransacked our apartment to find this guy, and I couldn't find him. But then out the corner of my eye, I saw him hanging off our balcony. So I ran out, I swore and shouted him, and I stamped on his fingers, and he fell. But he landed in a bush, so he survived the fall. So I went into the kitchen, grabbed our fridge, threw it over the balcony, but the cable got caught around my leg and pulled me over the edge to my death. Pete goes, that's rotten luck, mate, in you go. 2 minutes later, another bloke walks up to the gates of heaven. Sorry, mate, only come in if you've had a really rubbish day. What else is this chap? I was on my top floor apartment on my balcony, watering my flowers, slipped on the water, like a sausage, fell over the edge. Luckily, managed to grab onto a balcony a few floors below. Then this bloke comes running out, screaming and shouting at me, and he stamps on my fingers and I fell. Luckily, I survived the fall because I landed in a bush, but then a fridge came out of the sky and killed me. Pete goes, that is terrible luck, mate, in you go. A minute later, another bloke walks up to the gates of heaven, naked. Pete goes, the hell happened to you? Well, I was hiding in this fridge. You've been fantastic, thank you very much, God bless.